see the tradition being kept. Let's see if we get a show goal next year as well.
Yeah.
But now, let's have a look at the battleground. Where are we going? Cursed Hollow. This is a slightly less Cho'Gall favored map, much larger. I think we're probably going to return to that Abathur ban.
Yeah, Abathur has been the staple ban here in first position for Diamond Skin 2 consecutive games. They didn't need to deal with it on Tomb of the Spider Queen because the map is too small. But if Tomb of the Spider Queen is not a good competitive map for Abathur, Cursed Hollow certainly is.
Yes, it is, and as such, probably going to see it banned, maybe picked up by Diamond Skin if they're able to sort of do a draft bait around Polska here. But I don't expect we're seeing Abathur anytime soon with how this is going to work. But yeah, solid map, going to a very standard map to either move Diamond Skin only one game away from reholding their spot, or getting Polska to even up the score.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Cursed Hollow, a map with, I guess, the objective itself is strong, but because it's diluted over several different tribute phases, you need to collect up to 3 tributes in order to get a curse that weakens enemy minions and structures. Because it's so diluted, there's a lot of time to do other things, like boss, bruiser camp, siege camp, and vanilla style pressure. The lanes are far and away apart from each other, so there's no such thing as standard 4-man rotations that do 2 different lanes at the same time by clearing a wave, going to the other lane, clearing it again. So you're further away from help, and you're further away from doing those kind of rotations. So there is a lot of split pressure value on this map. Think of Zagara, the Haka, who has barely seen prioritization so far. Falstad, Illidan Rhaegar, Illidan Tassadar, Greymane kind of comps.
Yeah. Well, anyone who could do mercs quickly, anyone who could split push global heroes, of course, get far more value here. So, not just right, we even see Falstad a fair amount more on this map and Sky Temple than we do on any of the other maps because they're large, and of course rotations are fantastic here.
Yeah. So we'll see what the draft plans are. Like we said, we don't expect Abathur to be coming through anytime soon here. But we'll see. Even Vikings is a potential play on this map.
It is. We did, for those who did not watch the playoffs, there was a team that a lot of people were toting to be here today in the form of Bushido Esports. Very big fans of the Vikings and Samuro, but they were not able to qualify. They did, in fact, lose out, and as such, Polska could maybe take a page out of their book and steal a little strategy here.
Yeah, Bushido Esports was the 2nd seeded team going into the Open Division playoffs, whereas Polska Pamieta were 6th seeded team going into the playoffs. So they definitely achieved above their predicted station. So kudos to them. And now 2-1 in this series. Abathur ban, completely expected here. Very heads-up ban.
Yeah, very heads up and not surprising at all. So, other globals, very simple here. Brightwing, Dahaka, Falstad, ETC, who has had huge priority already, so just picking him up gives you the capability of either picking up another global or just playing him stage dive and using him as your clear.
Yeah, I really liked stage dive last game for Polska. It was
very effective.
Big part of their win. In the first game when they went mosh pit, it definitely put ETC in a lot less stable position. I feel like with stage dive you'll end up playing smarter generally, more flexible. You save your power slide, so you stage dive in, do damage, you do 50% slow, and then you can still power slide out, rather than the very predictable power slide in, mosh pit, kill me now if it fails, because you're there without an escape.
Yeah, exactly on the logic. But VTC removed, it's going to be the other very high CC, high priority pick in the form of Uther, the Hammer of Justice, and of course the sometimes seen, I'm not going to say rarely because we do actually see it quite often, the Divine Storm is available for him as well.
Yeah, always a powerful pick too. It can be nice against things like Illidan, Genji.
Yep.
But of course, I don't think just because they won a map that Polska should be bringing back Genji now. I feel like I've seen enough of their Genji to feel they'll do much better with a teamfight comp. They've done well as a teamfight every game.
Yeah.
So as long as they take heroes that can quickly join battle and do a 5 versus 5, I think they're in a good spot. If they take something awkward where their main tank is their offlaner, that will be not advantageous for them.
Right now, I'd like to see Lunara Ariel. They don't go over either. They go with Dahaka, still getting that global potential, and Rhaegar, solid burst healing, so they're keeping themselves flexible. The Lunara, though, once again, we've already said it could be a really solid counter to Uther. Are we going to see 4 for 4 Gul'dan?
Yeah, they could. I mean, it's not as likely against Rhaegar, but Horrify has been amazing.
It's been so good.
Chris likes to one-trick.
Yeah, Chris, he has other heroes. We've seen him only on Gul'dan today. His Chromie is really, really solid. His Valor is great. He has so many heroes that it would take the entirety of this draft just to list them all in terms of the ones that he is good at. But right now, he seems to be super happy about this Gul'dan. It's a question of whether he's going to bring it back.
I think Vala makes slightly more sense. Gul'dan is a bit more flankable by Dahaka. He would have to use Horrify if his support cannot save him. If Dahaka flanks and goes for Gul'dan. Vala's a bit more flexible. You hear Dahaka, you can vault away so you don't get drag-tongued or isolated. Yeah. For now, once again, delaying their damage and going for a Nubarak Arthas.
Nubarak Arthas indeed. Spell armor and physical armor, leaving yourself open to whichever kind of draft you want and keeping yourself generally covered in both ways, and of course very heavy in terms of crowd control. Yeah,
hard to pass these guys in a narrow alleyway. Better to avoid that alleyway, and of course Cursed Hollow is almost all alleyways. So Arthas is a great rock in that river there, and hard to get around.
Yeah, very true, but he is weakened, slightly vulnerable against kiting from ranged heroes. Jaina, for example, is very effective.
Yeah.
Very similar to actually the proverb of water does not erode a rock via its power, but its persistence. And that's how Jaina kills Arthas. Doesn't one-shot him, just pokes him forever. And that's the same for a lot of heroes. Lunara as well, as well if he's in ranged form, but he does really quite suffer against Arthas a lot of the time because he wants to be in Morgan form because damage is nice.
So Genji gets banned by Polska Pamieta. They can still go Ariel Lunara. I feel like this has been the #1 thing that's been working really well for Polska in all of their games, both their victories and their losses. Lunara as their damage dealer. You would have double support, you would have Lunara as your hyper carry, and you delay your main tank until later. Damage skin banning Lieutenant Morales maybe.
Kind of sad. Want to see her. She's a fun hero in general, and she can open up the door to some really solid play, including some heroes we don't see it as often, like a Zul'jin potentially. But unfortunately, is removed for this time.
This is a pretty good comp for Zul'jin to go up against from Diamond Skin, but at the same time, it's hard to stack up his quest. Polska actually tried to run Zul'jin on Cursed Hollow, but it takes a long time to get his You Want Axe. They completed it at around level 20. Right before they lost.
Yeah. So what you're saying is ability power Zul'jin.
or you could just get the Bone Slicer at level 1, the Q that does 30% more damage, passes through enemies. That one
I never actually thought about that. We've been once again, a quick reminder, Anna's not available for this particular game. They're playing on the patch that they played the playoffs on to make it more standard, more set. But an interesting interaction. I quite like the idea of just the double swords and just nano boosting Zul'jin with like ability power builds.
There's like axes spinning all the time.
Do you like axes? I have lots of axes. We're seeing the Valor taken away this time. Tass, Valor, and Rhaegar. About as standard as you can get for probably about a year.
So not Ariel Lunara, but instead Tassadar Vala. Also a very good duo pairing.
Not Lunara though. They let it go, even how good it is against Uther, even though it worked last game. But instead, they want a little bit of more mobility. Like, as much as it's weird to say, Vala actually does have more mobility than Lunara these days, with the vault and of course the extra speed from the level 1 hot pursuit. So
yeah, if you go that, if you don't go the Hungering Arrow, I think it could be multi-shot build because Beetles can take so many Hungering Arrow shots.
Exactly,
bounces.
They can drain them away, which is annoying.
But also, it's a takeaway pick. Vala, of course, is more popular for Chris than Lunara.
4 for 4!
They couldn't be surprised by this, Polska Pamieta. So somehow they're very okay with this. I wonder if it's going to be no, it wouldn't be Stitches, would it?
I mean, Stitches Dahaka is an okay stun setup. Stitches Force Wall?
I mean it could work. It's always tough against Beetles and Ghouls.
Just in terms of the Force Wall, Diablo could be coming in here. Could go for the spell armor, which could protect against the Gul'dan. A little bit rough against the Grey Mane, but it's potential. Not sure.
Johanna actually seems to make the most sense. You get the Unstoppable to try and block all those stuns and silences. You blind
Rhaegar's cleanse on just Johanna. You can use it on Valor, etc.
You blind Grey Mane. You get that regeneration power that she has to allow Tassadar with Sidestorm and Vala with multi-shot to do enough damage to what?
Oh, okay. So so we have Leoric and Dahaka as the 2 tanks here. Double support, double support, double tank, which wasn't on camera, so no one saw it. But either way, yes, tank. Leoric is monumentally tanky these days. It's a fair enough thing.
I mean, like he's always there and he has good regeneration. But if Cursed Bullet is chosen, or heck, even go for the throat, whenever he drops low,
he's blow-uppable is the issue.
Leoric. So there, once again, Polska lacks engage. They suffered in map 2 on Towers of Doom, where Arthas was their only warrior. You only have the Howling Blast. You don't have something fancy like Cocoon. Or Burrow Charge. So they suffer that again. And Leoric, as a good solo laner, as a good double laner, but also being the main tank, it's a bit awkward to have him in the comp like this. I mean, Stitches was a possibility. Johanna, Muradin. We could have seen Diablo with Force Wall combination. Yeah. This is so, like, it's not even the 4th most valid pick, what I thought. But because of that, it could be a very powerful surprise, maybe?
It's definitely surprising. That's the one thing it is. I'm excited to see how they were going to run this. Like, honestly, I would love to say it's sort of in terms of sustain, it would have to be March of the Black King to just wade through.
Kill the ghouls, kill the beetles, a lot of lifesteal.
But Entomb's really good against Gul'dan if you take the silence one at level 20. So...
You know, in Hero League at least, I generally try to avoid Entomb against Gul'dan because you know what happens.
He just horrifies you.
Yeah, when you Entomb, your whole team is like, all right, let's go. Breakfast is served. They all group around, and it's the perfect horrify. So it could be March for that sustain. I don't want to Rain of Vengeance on their parade either. The Leoric surprises me, but they could have a plan here.
Before you make another amazing pun, we're going to head into game, ladies and gentlemen. It's game number 4 between Diamond Skin and Polska Pamieta. And spawning on the left-hand side, currently 2-1 up. It is going to be Diamond Skin with Sport Billy on the Anubarak Wolf Joe playing that Uther. It is Eternal on the Arthas, has been quite effective. Nanda back on that Greymane, and it is going to be Chris playing once again, the Gul'dan.
4 in a row. Polska Pamieta on the right, in the red. Sihu on Leoric. Razuf on Rhaegar. We've got Gugus on Tassadar. Gluehammer on Dahaka. And Polish Guru is playing Vala.
And as we start off at level 1, Rhyme and Dampen Magic. Both of the tanks just going for pure protection. Going for blocking out the spell damage, which Vala has gone for the Q-based build here.
So if you're a warrior and you have an icon that looks like a shield, take it. Makes sense, I guess.
It's a safe choice in almost every scenario. I can't think of what, like, maybe Reinforce, I guess, if there's no auto-attackers. Yeah. That's the only option I could maybe argue against. But even so, that's still a good ability.
Polska Pamieta will be going for Hungering Arrow on Vala. So even though there's beetles and ghouls to distract her, she still wants to have that single target damage possibility, and it allows her to take camps as well. Monster Hunter will be great to take the siege camps.
Tank attempt, but it's Gluehammer and Gugus, 2 of the hardest heroes to lock down for Glugus from last game. This time, still in the same lane, but playing on 2 separate bodied heroes.
Gluehammer has played so many different things this series.
He has.
He was on ETC, Ariel, Cho, and now Dahaka.
Now that's a flex. Yeah. That is the flex role just being personified there by Gluehammer. But now clearing up the lane, taking a couple shots. The tower's already out of ammo. Good burrow charge there. Rue does land. Dahaka gets shielded, but they're still actually attempting to get the turnaround with the help of Tickle here.
Eternal trying to juke a drag tongue that never comes.
Yeah, he's able to walk over the burrowed Anubarak though and get out. Beautiful knockout from Sport Billy, and they're able to pick off the Dahaka.
So Eternal dodged drag tongue about 6 times, which never came. Then finally, when the time came to cast it, there was Anubarak to kill Dahaka back. So very nicely played by Diamond Skin. Now Razuf going for the siege camp. And you may wonder, there was a 3v2 for a long time by Diamond Skin in the top lane. going for those top towers, the top ammunition. What was happening in the meantime? How was Polska capitalizing on their 3v2 at the bottom lane? And, well, the answer is not really. Chris on cooldown was a little bit too good at de-pushing that lane, and no damage was done. So it is a double lead here for Diamondskin, getting the takedown and depleting the ammo.
We are seeing that Rhaegar is a little bit late to the mid lane, though, due to the fact that he did finish the camp and then B, and they have 3 heroes in the top lane. He's still going to get back before too many minions die, so they don't miss out too much. For Billy, another attempt onto the Yorick this time. Wraithwalk, very short one, just to get him out of range.
Very lucky spawn position for Polska Pamieta. It's always a bit, yeah, luck-based here. 50-50, you both grab the camp, and then you can defend the camp and deal with the tribute at the same time. Are they dealing with it though?
Clutch Storm, but Shekel's already dead. The focus here, and here's what we were concerned about. Is Leoric tanky enough to hold out? Maybe even not just through the early game, just all game long. As Nanda getting focused, able to raise swipe into the background. Shekel's back though. Guess what? Early game Leoric, he ain't staying dead long. And that is going to allow Polska to take the first tribute of the game. That's an interesting strategy. Just let him die and he comes back super early because Leoric. Gluham actually takes a tower shot here. This is what we call overextending, but he does turn around and leave.
Well, he was trying to help Polish Guru, who was pretty desperate about getting that kill. Tribute, of course, goes to Polska Pamieta. This is because this tribute should always go to Polska Pamieta. They're dealing with the siege camp and the tribute. They sent all 5. Chris has to stay below to deal with the siege camp, lest he would lose 2 towers and a gate for free to the siege camp. But Diamondskin is still ahead on level because of that Lior kill.
So they baited in here, looking to try and potentially steal the camp. Sport Billy came in for the zoning, and then nearly got in trouble himself. Very much a bounce back and forth there between which team wanted to actually overcommit. What ended up happening is just nothing. We saw Diamondskin get the camp, and Polska Pamieta, they were never fully committed because Rajuf was always over here doing this.
So Razov's gonna Hearthstone. The tribute will actually announce in a few seconds, so he'll be a little bit late, probably, for the tribute.
Yeah. So tanking through, at least for the moment. Here comes Nanda, dropping some extra damage. Wraithwalk, not available. Down goes Shekel again. 3 kills to 0 currently in favor of Diamondskin, but once again, tribute count is in favor of Polska. Tribute is on Polska's side of the map as well. Shekel will be back for it because Joy, he is Leoric.
Yeah. Greymane is doing some serious damage. He's actually going to spawn in the middle of all of them.
Potential pain, but he did scout out and was able to escape. Surprise Gluehammer! Immediate cleanse, getting Eternal out of that danger there. But Polska have now set up position.
Okay, yeah, really good position again for the tribute for Polska Pamieta. They get 2 consecutive tributes. I would say quite lucky to get those 2 spawns exactly. It could not possibly have been better for them.
No, that went well.
North
Very
mid
well.
and then north east tribute spawns. Now they do have a problem because for the next tribute, Diamondskin will be level 10 and Polska will barely be level 9. And that means that they will lose the next tribute, but they have that space to work with. So I think what Polska would want to be doing now would be to wait to see where the tribute... No, we know where the tribute is going to spawn. It's going to spawn bottom left. So Polska, during that time, should start the boss. You grab the siege camp now, then you immediately rotate and you go and get the boss.
And it looks like Diamondskin had the same idea. They rotate up to scout it, but they find nothing except a potentially delicious Gluehammer who immediately pops Essence, burrows, he drops the Dark Swarm to stop himself getting body blocked, instead gets rooted and taken out.
So that's always a thing when you have a Nubrak. You can dive forts because the fort will always prioritize beetles. Every time a Nubrak uses an ability, beetle. So it's very easy to dive people below forts without any defender's advantage. Smart rotation by Diamondskin. They anticipated the boss move. Tribute indeed spawns bottom left. And now we have level 10 reach for Diamondskin. They can get the tribute, but they also have the power to zone out this boss, which would be the best plan B for Polska. They still want it, you see. Rhaegar was checking the boss. They're clearing the siege, and they will still go for it, but Eternal is not going to let it go. And Uther, just a safe distance behind. Very good positioning by Diamondskin. Uther could either go for the tribute or help Arthas if he's in trouble.
Guru, though, used that opportunity of having Arthas near him to grab a couple stacks. He's up to 30 bonus on his Hungering Arrow here, so he's doing okay, but you'd really want more just the amount of near team fights they've actually had so far.
Tassadar went for the takedown quest at 7.
Ooh.
No takedowns yet.
So potential percentage damage. He's gone for full auto attack build actually.
Yeah, mental acuity. It could be full auto indeed. It could also just be for the vision, as vision is key. Wars are won with spies, not swords.
Wise, Grubby, giving some advice for any potential war leaders watching.
Yeah, of course, I have so much experience. I played Warcraft.
Hey, I see what you did there. As we do see the rotation coming up here from Polska, they're finally going to attempt that boss. Immediate move in by Eternal, though. He is just guarding that.
Wow, look at that tribute spawn. This one was
nice.
The third one is always predictable if it's double top, but this one was random again. And again, very good spawn location for Polska Pamieta. They're able to set up very backwards position, very safe way to interrupt. Still, it's hard to grab though, because you can just shoot skill shots over the wall as Diamond Skin. But here we go, the fight's breaking out in earnest. Eternal going around with the flank.
And down goes Dahaka straight away. The Eternal flank coming in. Shekel is being forced to retreat. Looks like he's going to try and potentially be distracted. He did go for it too, by the way. But down goes Valor, down goes the Yorick, who's in the entomb. It's Rajuf, and he shall die as well. 4-0 in favor of Diamond Skin. They will pick up their second tribute of the game and a 2-level lead.
Yeah, Horrify insta-kill. Their very easy kill on Dahaka, and then the Arthur's flank completely put a nail in the coffin here. Diamond Skin get the full wipe nearly. Was it a full wipe?
No,
4 kills.
Taz survived.
Yeah, 4 kills. Now they can get a boss. The boss will then need to be defended against. Talent lead for Diamond Skin. They can get the next tribute, and then probably the second boss. That fight, which was kind of even. I mean, there were even chances. That fight completely threw this game out of whack. Diamond Skin has a huge lead now.
Yes, they do. They are in quite a bit of control here. We're seeing Polska finally attempting to take the boss. They're not doing it fast enough, Grubby.
Nope.
Danger, danger.
We have no damage.
They have no damage. Where's the team? As Eternal will once again continue to be the guardian of the top boss. And this time will allow his team to take it.
Yeah, this was a bit of an illogical move by Polska. They needed the Haka to depush top for XP, and they needed him to stay there to sell the idea that they're not really going for the boss. If the Haka suddenly leaves a minion wave and goes missing, 100% they're doing boss, right? So they only were able to attribute 3 members, but they didn't have enough damage to take down the boss, so it was illogical. All those things, those bad things which were going to happen to Polska, they were going to happen anyway, but they made it worse now.
Yeah, it's looking pretty bad. There's the curse, though, as there's the curse onto Polska. Their minions get wrecked. Bot lane being pressured by the entirety of Diamond Skin. Top lane being pressured by a boss. Diamond Skin actually have a boss reinforcements here. It just has less health. Yeah, this looks rough, especially with Shekel getting taken out here.
Oh man, not an easy day for Leoric there. Cursed Bullet comes out once again. He finds himself alone. And the question is, should you really respawn under 5 of the enemy? The answer is probably no. 5 deaths Shihu now. And it's been tough for him, you know. Leoric doesn't have the survivability that someone like Johanna would have under these circumstances. Diamond Skin with a very easy victory here after an amazing team fight at the Tribute. They will take the 3rd win here in the 4th map, 3-1 in just 11 minutes here.
And that puts them only 1 game away from holding on to their HGC Europe position. Polska Pamieta, they are up against the wall, Grubby. They still have a map. They have a hope. They have a single spark of belief there in them. But it's now a situation where they can't afford any more mistakes.
Yeah. And they faced Chris's Gul'dan 4 times in a row. And you look at these patterns, it doesn't mean you have to ban it. You could also counter it, you could counterplay it, or whatever. But usually you'll find teams looking at these things, these patterns in draft, and like kind of check mark, okay, that one was Gul'dan every time it was an issue. And Nubarak was kind of an issue as well. You can also look at, oh, our only map win is with Cho'Gall. Let's just do that again. First pick Ariel. Kind of obvious though, isn't it?
Very true, but Battlefield is still in the map pool, still available for them. We'll find out what they pick soon, though. For now, we're going to head to a quick break, and when we come back, it's going to be game number 5.
After discovering her factory and the surrounding city,